You okay?
Yeah. I was looking. I didn't see the tree.
Hey babe, there's a tree there.
Yeah, I know that.
What is going on in the world? We are here at the 2017 Spartan race. I'm only doing the sprint this weekend. It is, I think there's a super and a sprint this weekend. And this one's only 5 miles. There's like, what, 35 obstacles or something?
25.
25 obstacles.
20 to
so
25.
25 out of a 5-mile race is not too bad. But we've already been walking around a little bit. We're gonna look at some merch. And, cause we still got like an hour and a half till we got to be on the starting line, so we're gonna look around a little bit, spend more money than we need to, and yeah, we'll be back. So we're just walking around right now, checking out some of the obstacles, killing time. That shit looks crazy. Actually, that won't be that bad. Look at tire flips. Tire flips are so easy.
You only have to flip it like twice.
I'll be alright in the tire flips. I ain't worried about that shit.
Nowhere near as big as the ones out here. Nowhere near.
Yeah, they're really not. The ones we have at my local gym, I think, are like, the biggest one is like 400 something pounds. Oh hell yeah, I get to take a shower after this, get all cold.
If you drop it in the
I hope that guy becomes a dad one day and carries his son like that. That was fucking hilarious.
If you drop it and slam that bag, they make you do burpees anyway.
Oh, so you have to like let it down slowly? Oh shit. That could have hurt. I'm not smelling food. That's all I'm smelling. Still smells good, but it got me hopeful. I thought I was hungry, but it's just fire. Alright, so we got like 30 minutes until the race. So we're gonna start getting stretchy. And then yeah, the next time that you'll see me, I'll be on the chest cam, so probably not gonna be any sound unless it's horrible. And then we'll see some obstacles, and I'll see you after the race. What is going on in the world? This is Austin from Texas with a little commentary voiceover type of thingy. If the reason I'm having to do this is because if you have ever had to listen to the audio on a GoPro in the little waterproof case without a microphone of any kind, it is the most absolute cringeworthy sound that you've ever heard in your entire life. So this is the 2017, I believe, sprint race in Burnett, Texas. It's on Reveille Ranch. And so I wanted to give an idea of kind of like what all the obstacles were as you go through the race, just to give people a little idea of what you actually encounter, because that's one of the things that I've always I wanted to know, and I wasn't as smart as you, and I didn't just do a little search on YouTube, because apparently there's a million videos showing all the obstacles. So as you can see, those first two obstacles were just like jumping over little bars, which might be kind of difficult to do if you're a little bit shorter. I'm about 5'7", so they were about my shoulder height. That right there was a little 6-foot wall, which when you get a running start, it's not that bad. This right here is probably the most iconic obstacle in all of the Spartan races. It's about I want to say a 12 to 15 foot tall cargo net, and if you look, those holes are big enough for you to actually fall through, but there's really nothing to worry about like that, as long as you make sure and have a steady grip before you move your feet to the next rung of the net. It's really not that big a deal. Like I'm really scared of heights. Actually, this is kind of one of the reasons I wanted to do a Spartan race, because I knew that the cargo net was one of the main obstacles that you had to encounter, but it's really not as bad. Just make sure you stay close to the side. As you can see, I'm right there next to the little trussets, I think is what they're called. And if you get in the middle, you encounter a problem with a cargo net. Actually, it kind of wobbles around with other people on it, which can be pretty terrifying. So if you stay close to some of the aluminum structure there, it's not that bad. And then, like I said, just make sure you have a firm grip on the net before you move your feet, and then you don't have to worry about falling through. It's really not that bad once you get up there. And then, like, if you have firm grip and your foot falls through, then you're not going to fall off. So it's not that bad. This one, it looks like another 6-foot wall. Yeah, that's might be like, yeah, it's about 6-foot wall. And this obstacle is a little triplet type of thing, where you go over and then you go under right here, and then the next obstacle you get to jump through a little hole. If you look off to the right there, you can see my brother, who just kind of launches through it, but he does Spartan races for a living. That's one of his things. This obstacle right here was probably one of the more challenging obstacles, just knowing where to grip your hands on this thing. You can't really see anything because of where my GoPro is mounted. I had a chest mount instead of a head mount. But at first I tried to grip onto the chains that you see dangling there. They're anchored in one point, so they come off of the wall a little bit. But those were really, really rough on my hands. And I haven't done any rock climbing. I wanted to do some rock climbing to prepare for this, but I haven't, so I wasn't used to little rock climbing grips, and my finger strength is not really that great. So I went with the little holes in the wooden wall, which was probably the best way to do it. And there was one point here where I kind of fell off the wall. I leaned back too far, and I reached in and kind of clamped down too hard, and you can see here in a second, I'm kind of looking at my hands and my wrist right here. I pulled a tendon in my wrist that took about a little, maybe 2 or 3 months to like heal up all the way. But even then, if I pull on my wrist, or pull on my finger, I can still feel that tendon. So it's still healing a little bit. But that was a main factor in the rest of the race. This right here is just a little bit of the monkey bars. Again, with the camera placement that I had, you can't really see how I'm doing it, I guess. But you know, if you watch people in front of me, it's pretty easy to figure out. My brother's technique there of going from one pole to the next is a really good thing if you don't like to climb or swing on things. But for me, it was a lot easier to just like get kind of a rhythmic thing going here, where one hand on, get a good grip, swing over to the next one. You can keep a lot of momentum going back and forth. And I was kind of, when I had both hands on it, I would let myself swing back and then swing forward to grab the next one, and swing back and swing forward. Now,
The tire flips right here were not nearly as easy as I thought they were going to be. They're a lot heavier than the tires that I had at my local gym. Come to find out, my brother looked into it a little bit, and these are 400 pounds each. And from the structure, the way that the tires are built, it looks like they're probably a 12 ply or more, and the tread looks like it's about an inch thick. So that means that they're a lot heavier on the very edge of the tire than they would be on the inside. So, and also the ground, if you'll notice, throughout this whole video, nothing was really that muddy. Everything was hard clay, dirt type stuff, so it made it really tough. Right here you can see me having a problem getting my fingers under it, so it was super hard to get under these tires and get a good grip to flip them over. So I'm trying the other side, see if I can flip it over that way, and nope, not happening. But then I also thought about, okay, well, if it was muddy, then that's going to create a lot of suction on these tires. So it really was a no-win situation, and I just completely failed this obstacle. It was kind of ridiculous, and I hated it. And so that's definitely something to watch out for if you're preparing for a Spartan race, which I hope this is how you found this video. Make sure and do your tire flips. Now this next part is not really an obstacle. It was one of 2 muddy places during the race somehow, but be really careful running through these. You can see my brother slipping ahead of me. I almost slipped a few times. I'm not sure exactly how he's running there, but it looks kind of duck-footed and wide stance, so I guess that made it a little bit easier. There's just a little scenic view here. I wish the GoPro could capture what kind of view we had here. It was an amazing day. It wasn't nearly as hot as I expected. It's kind of overcast. It wasn't really chilly, but it felt nice outside. And coming up here is probably the most, I wouldn't say the most challenging, but pretty close to the most challenging obstacle that they had on this course, which I'm sure was supposed to be really, really muddy, but after, it was a weekend thing. This was the second day they had this race out there. So all of that mud and dirt had dried up and gotten compacted down to where these basically just turned into a slide. It was kind of fun sliding down. My brother scratched up his back and ripped his shorts a little bit, but I didn't have a problem with it. So also, that's something to make sure of. Also, if you don't want to rip your shirt, don't bring something that you are going to care about. If you don't want to rip your pants, also, if you're wearing leggings, make sure and have shorts over it, because if I was not wearing my shorts over these leggings, they would have been showing my ass to everybody, and that's just not a good time. This part right here would have been a lot easier if it was muddy, because like I said, it was all compacted and stuff. So I just decided to roll because it was a lot easier than crawling. This obstacle was really hard on my knees and elbows, so you might want to look into getting like maybe some volleyball knee pads, something that's a little bit squishy, that's not going to hinder your range of motion. I wouldn't suggest like skating knee pads or elbow pads or anything like that, because those have a lot of hard plastic on the outside, so that probably wouldn't be a very good idea. But yeah, like some volleyball pads or something like that would probably be perfect for this obstacle. And there was a lot more barbed wire than I thought there was going to be. There was like 3 hills of barbed wire up and down, so I was not prepared for that. But because I thought it was just going to be like one little hill, barbed wire. Oh, not that bad. Okay, yeah. But if we didn't have the GoPro obstacle, oh, you would hear me saying, God dang it, there's more hills and more barbed wire. So I'm just gonna slide just down a little slide right into a roll. Oh no, I'm crawling on this one. I guess these were some of the higher ones. And also, I do want to say that some of that barbed wire is not the same height in all the places, so you really want to look at it and make sure you're getting into a point where all the barbed wire is a little bit higher off the ground than some of the other barbed wire. Climbing up the hills was probably the hardest part of this obstacle, because you kind of have to spider crawl, I guess. I don't know, bear crawl. There you go. This is like an official Spartan movement or something like that, so that trains you for this. But what I ended up having to do is, I think there's a clip coming up here in a second where you can see my fingers are facing inwards, and I'm kind of using the outside of my hands so that I'm not tearing up my fingers and my wrists trying to get up this thing. That's kind of a good idea what that guy had right there, where you just kind of slowly shimmy up the side, but that was taking too long for me. I didn't want to do that. So yeah, and there's a few points at the top of the hill where you can like actually stand up and take a little rest, so that's not too bad either. I say so a lot, and I'm gonna have to try and force myself out of that habit, because I'm sure this commentary is actually getting pretty boring now, which is kind of what I was trying to avoid with the commentary. So yeah, hopefully I can break myself of that habit. This one right here, if you have access to Atlas stones or heavy rocks, I suggest you practice with those. I'm pretty sure it was like muddy out here the day before, because as you can see, there's like a 6-inch hole there from people just dropping that Atlas stone back and forth. But I've heard that the best way to get this Atlas stone up off the ground is not what you would expect. You don't want to keep your back straight and put your and bend your arms and pick it up from underneath, kind of like you would a deadlift form. You actually kind of want to bow your back a little bit, which is really contrary to intuition, and kind of straighten out your arms and almost roll it up your body. But this obstacle, you carry the Atlas stone however many feet that is, you do 5 burpees, you carry it back, and then that's it. It's a pretty easy obstacle. I was actually really surprised with a lot of the obstacles here. My brother was telling me that they had watered it down a little bit from last year. Apparently the obstacles were like a little bit harder, it was a little bit more muddy, and there was a lot more photographers apparently. So I'm not really sure what they did with that. This right here, I wouldn't even consider it an obstacle. You're just literally walking up a ramp that goes over a road. So this, yeah, it is not that big a deal. So this next obstacle coming up is actually one of the more challenging ones, you would think. A lot of people have trouble with the gymnastics type of obstacles, you know, like swinging on the monkey bars or rope climbs or anything like that. But this one was actually fairly difficult. The bucket is such a weird object to carry around, and then you have to fill it up with all these little pebbles, and you know, the smaller the rock, the more weight you grab. And then on top of that, I also had my my GoPro chest cam on, so it was fairly difficult to get a good grip on it. I couldn't quite hold it as high as I wanted to during this obstacle, but they tell you to fill it up all the way to the top. The red ones are for the women, the black ones are for the men. So the men have a little bit bigger of a bucket to carry, and this is definitely one I would recommend practicing outside of the race, because as you can see, that the bucket is right there under that camera. So I'm having a really tough time like trying to get it to a comfortable position where I can like get a good hold under it. What I really was trying to do is to about get it my forearms under the bottom of the bucket, so it's kind of got like a base, and then just kind of clasp my hands in front of it so that I'm carrying it fairly close to my center of gravity. And even then, on top of that, my brother was telling me that this obstacle was nowhere near as challenging as the last one in Austin that he went to. The last one had, he said, like 20 or 30 feet of elevation change and like probably like a quarter to a half a mile worth of distance to walk. And he was saying this was like just easy compared to that, like almost flat compared to that. Drop my bucket. And yeah, so I tried to scoot back up as much as I could into there, and I could not get a lot. So I kind of cheated a little bit. I got a few of those rocks, but they're not all quite in there. And right now I'm pretty winded. My brother's waiting on me because, you know, he wanted me to move along with him as quickly as I could. And at the very end of this obstacle, you got to pick your bucket up and dump it back over the wall so everybody else can fill it up, and then you turn it in at the end of the little wall. Which, that part wasn't that hard. If you lifted anything that's fairly heavy close to your face, then that part was not that bad.
and now my camera's dead. So I think after this, I missed a lot of the obstacles that I really wanted to see. There was like a new obstacle that was like monkey bars, but they twist whenever you grab the handle, so like you were constantly like pulling on any calluses you might have. It's really easy to rip your hands. There was an inverted like wall to climb, so instead of straight up and down, it was kind of like at a 30-degree angle back towards you, so that was pretty fun. And then one of the famous obstacles for Spartan races is where you have to go through the muddy water. Like you climb up a wall, and then you jump down into the water, and then you go under a wall through the water, and then you climb up a rope over a wall, and then jump back down into the water or something like that. And surprisingly, that was really the only watery, muddy obstacle in this race. And then, you know, I missed the rope climb and a few of the other monkey bar type of obstacles, which was kind of disappointing, but you know, what are you gonna do? So go check out some other videos for that, and yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and even if you don't like the video, because it helps me make more videos, and give me some constructive criticism, something you'd like to see better, something adventurous that you want to see or know about. And yeah, thanks for watching.